how the new Air Force One can delete any threat that comes at it. While Air Force One always flies around with a fighter escort while outside the United States, that doesn't mean that if alone, the president's plane would struggle to fend for itself. In fact, it's quite the contrary. Thanks to a robust suite of self-defense measures, the VC-25B has some interesting tricks up its sleeve. And among these is something straight out of a sci-fi movie, known as the ANALQ-204 Mater. These devices are located in different parts of the aircraft, typically around the engines or tail section. Though it looks like a rather unassuming box with a bunch of cameras, don't let that fool you. This very potent system can take out a wide range of missiles without even firing a shot. It does so by using lasers that disrupt the guidance system of infrared missiles. Essentially, it's doing the multi-million-dollar version of shining a light in your eye so the missile can't find Air Force One. But if that doesn't work, or the missile's not using an infrared seeker, at the rear of the aircraft, there's a chaff launcher as a last resort. Chaff is basically superheated metal that gets blasted in a large cloud around the aircraft. The hope is that because of this heat and infrared qualities, the incoming missile will be confused and it will fly through the chaff instead. However, the US doesn't spend hundreds of billions a year on defense for nothing, since the new VC-25B will also come fully loaded down with jammers all over the aircraft. The purpose of these jammers is to disrupt radars on any nearby enemy aircraft so they can't even get a lock on Air Force One in the first place. But in today's climate, with the threat of nuclear war higher than it has been in decades, the plane is also equipped to survive some of the worst weapons man can throw at the president. Among these are electromagnetic pulse bombs, designed to disrupt telecommunications equipment and fry computers. The plane's design team has insulated it with a Faraday shield of metals and various alloys that make it immune to EMPs. This shielding also prevents the horrible effects of heat and radiation from a nuclear blast. Because of this, even if the world is seemingly about to end, Trump could still talk to his military commanders and post memes about Armageddon on Truth Social. Thanks to the highly revamped aircraft body, the VC-25B can remain in the White House for a long time. One of the first things you'll probably notice is the color scheme will be different. Though Trump wanted an iconic red, white, and blue design, the FAA put the kibosh on those plans. According to them, the dark blue color Trump wanted may not have stood up under certain temperature conditions. Because of this, the Biden administration decided to keep the exterior painted white and a robin blue. True to his form, Trump will probably change this once he takes office, but he has yet to comment on that. Another major difference between this plane and previous versions is that the basic design of the VC-25B is essentially a stretched-out, more retro version of the luxury Boeing 747-8. At a height of 63 feet, a length of 250 feet, and a wingspan of 224 feet, the VC-25B is about 20 feet longer and 30 feet wider than the model it's based on. There are a couple of reasons for this. First of all, the plane needs to accommodate some things the 747-8 cannot, like its own air stairs and baggage loading. This is because the VC-25B is designed to land at almost any airport worldwide, no matter how limited their facilities are. The other main reason why the aircraft is larger is to accommodate the extra fuel tanks. With a 7,730 nautical mile range, this is 1,000 nautical miles further than the 747-8 can go. The reason for the additional fuel tanks is that, unlike the VC-25A, the VC-25B will not have the ability to aerially refuel. While many people have considered this a negative, the fact remains that even today, Air Force One rarely conducts aerial refueling. If it really looked like the end of the world was imminent, the president would probably already be on board the E-4B doomsday plane that can aerially refuel. One of the biggest differences will be in carrying capacity, with a max weight takeoff of 987,000 pounds. This is about 100,000 more pounds worth of weight the VC-25B can carry. This can equate to more food, fuel, water, equipment, parts, and whatever else is needed for a prolonged flight. The main reason for this is the structural modifications made to the VC-25B and lighter but stronger composite materials being used. The other reason for the increased capacity is the better engines on board. The new VC-25B will have 4 General Electric Gen X 2B67 engines at about 9,000 pounds of thrust, greater than what's on the VC-25A. This aircraft has a slightly faster speed and a much greater thrust. Additionally, these engines are more fuel efficient and quieter than before. But despite all these amazing upgrades, President Trump may never actually get the chance to test drive the VC-25B thanks to a continual series of delays. In the final days of the Obama administration, the Air Force awarded the initial contract to Boeing to begin the initial development of the VC-25B. In 2018, under President Trump, the government finalized the contract to deliver 2 VC-25Bs at a cost of $3.9 billion. However, this cost has ballooned to about $5.3 billion in recent years. Because of the firm fixed price on the contract, Boeing has already eaten more than $1 billion loss on the project with no end in sight. One of the biggest issues is the complexity in basically redesigning almost the entire aircraft to meet all the security, communications, and defensive requirements set by the government. Another reason is that all the aircraft's body's various parts have to be modified to accept things like the staircase, EMP shielding, and other additions. Boeing also cited supply chain issues with getting parts that have slowed everything down. Because of these delays, the aircraft was supposed to be delivered by 2024. But of course, we're now in 2025 with no new ride in sight. According to Boeing's most recent statements, the VC-25B will be ready for ground testing by this summer, and its first flight is scheduled for spring of 2026. The final delivery of both aircraft has now been adjusted to 2027 with a 1-year grace period. Any additional delays will continue pushing this timeline to the right, which means that Trump may never get to ride in a plane he championed in his first term.